Welcome to Science. Let's begin by reviewing our Earth's structure. There are three main parts that make it up. What is number one pointing to, Adrian?
The crust.
The crust is the outer portion of our Earth. What is number two pointing to, Monroe?
The mantle.
What hot liquid rock, students watching, can you find inside the mantle? It is the magma. And number three is pointing to, Amory?
The core.
The core, and it is the hottest portion of the Earth at the very center of it. You're on the edge of your seat, ready to pop up out of your desk when you know the answers to our questions. What substance or material in the Earth has never been alive? Adrian?
Venus.
You are close there. That is decayed material in the soil. Royan? It is a mineral. What word would we use to describe soil that is able to produce healthy plants, Monroe?
Humus.
If it has humus, it would be this word, William. Fertile is correct there. What layer of soil would you find beneath the topsoil? Students watching? Let's check with Lucia.
Subsoil.
Yes. And what is the top layer of soil, Kendrick?
Topsoil.
Good. When different crops are planted from year to year, we call that what of the crops?
Rotation.
Rotating. A ditch that's formed by soil erosion, Clara, is called a?
Gully.
Yes, ma'am. A loss of soil by water or wind is called soil what? Jalen?
Soil erosion.
Good. Different minerals and nutrients for the soil. So sometimes farmers will add these to the soil. What is it?
Humus.
I'll help you here with this one. It's fertilizer. Say it with me.
Fertilizer.
When plants can grow well in soil, we say that that soil is what, Mikkel? What word describes soil that plants grow well in? Amory? No. Royan?
Fertile.
Fertile soil. When we take good care of the soil that we have, that is called soil what, Adrian? We're being a good steward of what God has given to us. No, it's soil conservation. Say that with me. Soil conservation. A natural formation of rock or soil on the Earth's surface is called a, Mikkel?
Landform.
It is a landform. What is the shaking of the Earth's crust? Clara?
Earthquake.
What melted rock flows from a volcano? Students watching? Monroe?
Lava.
It is lava. A large mass of rock or soil that falls from a mountain or a cliff is called a
Landslide.
landslide. A break between two of the Earth's plates where earthquakes take place is called a, Jake? I gave you a hint. I said this would not be your Charlotte? Scarlett? Anybody?
Fault.
Fault is correct. That is a break between two of the Earth's plates. What is a place in the Earth where magma can erupt as lava? Timothy?
A volcano.
Good. The beginning of a river is called the? Jalen?
Mouth.
That's the ending of a river. Alana?
Source.
The source. Good. What landform at the mouth of a river is made from deposited soil and sand? Brennan?
Delta.
Delta. Good. At this time, you're opening up your science books to page 98 as we prepare to learn about geologists today. A geologist is a scientist who studies the matter that makes up the Earth. And after our lesson for today, you may realize that you want to be a geologist as well. You might even be able to do that in your own backyard. So you'll have to pay close attention to see how you can be a geologist even at your own home. Looking at the words to watch for on the screen, repeat these after me. Sediment.
Sediment.
Sediment is matter that settles to the bottom of a liquid. We'll see an example of that in our lesson. Stewardship.
Stewardship.
That's taking wise care of what God has given to us. Limestone.
Limestone.
Natural resources. Natural resources are items that God has given to us naturally, which means that they are not man-made. You're on page number 98 as we take a close look at the terms to remember. Row 1, would you prepare to read at this time? Timothy, you're reading those terms to remember, and then Ashby, you'll be ready to read about the kinds of rock.
Terms to remember. Sediment, the matter that settles to the bottom of a liquid. Stewardship, taking wise care of what God has given.
Continue reading for me, Ashby.
Kinds of rock. Have you ever had a rock collection? Maybe it's time to start. If you ever explore your backyard, you may find many different kinds of rocks. Rocks are made out of natural material. A rock can be as small as a pebble or as large as a boulder. Some rocks are made by heat. Do you remember what erupts out of a volcano? Magma turns into lava, which cools and makes different kinds of rock. Some rocks are made of sediment. Sediment is the matter that settles to the bottom of a liquid. Minerals and tiny pieces of sand can settle at the bottom of a body of water. When it does, it settles in layers of. If sediment hardens under pressure, it can turn into a rock.
Thank you, Ashby. You may have a seat. So, how many of you have a rock collection? Do you have some interesting and beautiful ones that you like? Maybe some that have a lot of color to them? Collecting different types of rocks can be a fun activity that you can enjoy by looking at those different features that they have. Now, some rock can be liquid like magma. As it gets very, very hot, that rock is able to flow, and as it comes from the volcano, it becomes lava. Over time, that hot liquid rock is going to harden again. As it becomes a solid, it's forming a type of rock or even a landform that could be a mountain once it is cooled off outside of the volcano. You see an example of sediment. Sediment is matter that settles to the bottom of a liquid. Whenever we take two items and combine them together to make a new substance, that's called a mixture. So as you're enjoying a salad dressing, you may have to shake it up so that those two ingredients can combine together to make a new type of ingredient called a mixture. It's something that can be combined together, but then over time it can separate again. If you forget to shake that bottle up before you pour it onto your salad, you'll find that it will not taste as good because those ingredients haven't been combined. Here's an example as well of water and oil together. Now these two do not mix on their own, but as I shake it and I combine them, I'm creating a mixture, which is a new substance because those two have come together. Over time, as this sits and it begins to settle, you'll see sediment. As the water will settle to the bottom of the mixture, they will become two separate ingredients again. You can find sediment in the bottom of a river. Maybe you've had the opportunity to walk in a river or in a creek. Have you felt the rocks and the soil that are on the bottom of it? Maybe it feels very squishy. Maybe you stepped on a rock and it hurt a little bit. Lots of different types of sediment that you can find. As those items are much heavier than water, they're going to find their way to the bottom of that liquid and they'll be called sediment. So a way to remember what sediment is, sediment settles to the bottom of a liquid. Say that with me. Sediment settles to the bottom of a liquid. One more time. Sediment settles to the bottom of a liquid. Would you continue reading for me, Mikkel, at the top of page 99?
Some rocks can even change into another kind of rock. If a rock is under enough pressure or heated, it becomes harder. Marble was once limestone, but heat and pressure hardened it to be the beautiful rock that it is today.
Thank you, Mikkel. So another example of rocks changing in their states is limestone. Maybe you have marble countertops in your house or some type of marble structure. Very, very beautiful rock that is used for many nice things, but it starts in a different form called limestone. You can see a picture there of limestone as the pieces of equipment are breaking it down, and it will later be changed into what's called marble. So as they undergo pressure or heat, they're able to become a different type of rock. Look at the something to try with me. Start a rock collection. This may be something that you enjoy doing on your own time. Can you organize a rock collection? Try this and see. What you'll need is an egg carton and an assortment of rocks. What to do? Gather rocks from your yard, the park, or nature walks. Organize them in an egg in an egg carton by color, texture, or size. That may be something that you enjoy doing as you can look at the different types. Notice the different features about those rocks as you organize them into categories. Now we're looking at stewardship. God has given us many important things that we need to be able to live. He has given us a beautiful earth to live on, not just for us to have because we need it, but He also gave us beauty in the earth to enjoy looking at while we live here. As a Christian, it's our responsibility to give our best to take care of what God has given to us. He has blessed us greatly, and we need to be a good steward. Say steward with me. Steward. A steward is someone who takes wise care of the things that God has given to us. So let's read about how we can be a good steward and show stewardship to those things that He's given to us. Continue reading, Lucia.
Stewardship. When God created the earth, He made a planet like no other. Not only does it have beautiful, unique features, it is also rich in resources. God provided natural resources to meet our needs. He gave us water, the right kind of air, good soil for growing food, energy sources, and building materials. God tells us to use the resources He gives wisely. Taking wise care of what God has given us is called stewardship.
Thank you, Lucia. You may have a seat. I want you to look back at your science book at that paragraph she just read. What are some of the resources that God has given to us? Remember, these are things made by God that a man did not make that we need to be able to live. She read there for us water, the right kind of air, good soil for growing food, energy sources, and building materials so that man can make things that they need. What do we call taking wise care of what God has given to us, Adrian? Stewardship. Good. And what are those materials that God has blessed us with that provide things like the right kind of air, water, building materials? Those are called what, Monroe?
Trees.
That would be an example of one of these. You're correct there, but what are they called? Natural resources. You're looking now at the next page. While you're turning, listen carefully for a few questions. How could you be a good steward of the earth God has given to us? Royan, give me an example. Picking up trash. Good. We're going to read about that in a moment. Students watching, how could you be a good steward? Good. That would be a great way to help. Mikkel, give me something else. Reusing. Okay, we're going to see that in a moment as well. Can you think of something else, Adrian? How could you be a good steward of the water that God has given to us? Maybe as you're getting ready in the morning?
By not wasting water.
Right. Maybe when you're brushing your teeth, being sure to turn the faucet off or only using the amount of water that you need. Now we're looking at ways that we can be a good steward by reusing and recycling materials. Pay close attention and see if you can find a way that you could be a good steward by doing some of these things. Read that for me, Bree.
There are many ways to be a good steward of God's creation. Conserve resources like soil, water, and energy sources by using them wisely. Think before you throw something away. Some things can be recycled, repurposed, or reused. What can you do today to be a good steward of the resources God has given?
Thank you, Bree. You may have a seat. So I want you to repeat these words after me. They all start with R. Repurpose. Recycle. Reuse. Thinking on those three things, I want you to try and find a way that you can be a good steward of what God has given to you by using those three R's: repurposing, recycling, and reusing. You have a pencil out as we're now completing our comprehension check together. Number 1 says lava is harmful to the soil. Would that be a true or false statement, Brennan?
False.
Lava is not harmful. It's actually what? Helpful. So that is a false statement. Number 2, lava can turn into kinds of rocks. Charlotte, true or false?
True.
It is true. Number 3, a volcano can quickly form a mountain or island. Noah?
True.
Right, as that rock hardens after it cools down, it can quickly form a mountain. A fault is where earthquakes are most likely to happen. Scarlett?
True.
That is a true statement. Rocks are made of natural materials. Students watching, true or false? It is a true statement as well. Number 6, magma is the matter that settles to the bottom of a liquid. Amory?
False.
It's not magma, but what is it? It settles to the bottom of a liquid. Sediment is correct. Let's take a look now over at the next page, page 101, as we see Be a Scientist. We're going to complete this activity together. Kendrick, would you step to the front and help us by reading the yellow portion at the top and then telling us what we need to do this experiment?
Practice the scientific method with mixtures and sediment. Where can you find sediment in a body of water? What you need: jar with tight lid, water, natural soil, paper, and pencil. What to do: observe and ask questions. Mixing 2 or more kinds of matter is called a mixture.
Oh, you went ahead and told us what the answer was there. Let's talk about this together. When we mix 2 or more kinds of matter together, it's called a what? Students watching? And in the classroom, it's called a?
Mixture.
So you're writing mixture on the line there. Continue reading the second dot, please.
A mixture of water and soil can't separate again.
So what do you think is true there? A mixture of water and soil can or cannot separate again, Brennan? It can separate again. So now let's form our hypothesis and see if we believe it'll settle at the bottom or remain mixed. Would you continue reading through section 4?
If you mix water and soil in a jar, sediment will settle at the bottom or remain mixed.
What do you believe is true, Kendrick? Will it settle at the bottom or remain mixed?
Settle at the bottom.
Settle at the bottom. So you're circling that option. Continue reading.
Experiment and gather data. Fill the jar 3/4 full with water. Add soil. Cover the jar, tighten the lid, and shake the jar. Set down and wait. After an hour, observe and draw or write your results. Repeat your observations every hour. Study and reach conclusions. Compare your hypothesis with your results. Discuss the result.
Thank you, Kendrick. You may have a seat. So I have our items here that we need to complete this Be a Scientist. It tells us to fill the jar 3/4 of the way with water. So I'm going to take my jug of water here, and I'm going to fill it about 3/4 of the way. Then we're going to take some soil that also has some rocks inside of it, and we're going to fill our container with it. So that nice clean water is going to get very, very messy very quickly. Then we cover our container and we're going to shake it around. You can already see before I even begin shaking it that matter is starting to settle to the bottom. It's falling to the bottom of the liquid. We'll be able to see if it can separate again like we chose for our hypothesis. So I'm going to shake it around here, hopefully not getting too much of it everywhere. And you can see it is a dark, cloudy mess in there now. So right now that mixture is all mixed together. The soil and the water are evenly distributed. But we're going to let this sit for an hour. Students watching, if you're trying this, wherever you're at as well, mix this together and then allow it to sit for an hour. After an hour, come back to check your mixture and see if your hypothesis is true. Did that mixture separate again like we thought that it would, or did it remain mixed together? The bottom of our page says as sediment falls to the bottom of a liquid, it creates layers. The heavier, denser material settles first. The lighter, finer material settles on top. So as our soil and our rocks are much more dense than water, Those were settling to the bottom of the liquid, and the water will remain on top. Now let's take a close look at what our homework is going to be for this lesson. You're reading from Exploring God's World. You'll be reading pages 84 and 85, pages 87 and 88, as you're beginning to study for a test that you'll be taking in Lesson 38. So give your best as you do that assignment, and I'll see you at our next lesson.